So I went from around 20% body fat to 10% body fat, and I've maintained this for over 6 years now, and now I'm in a position where I'm helping other professionals do the same thing. This video I'm going to teach you exactly how I made that process happen, step by step. So let's go. So the first point is nutrition. I started off with a very small caloric deficit, and I literally mean like 200 to 300 calories. And the reason you want to do this is you want a small deficit because you want to retain as much muscle mass as possible. It's very, very tempting to go on a massive deficit to try and cut that fat off as fast as possible. But the issue with that is you're going to have a higher likelihood of losing muscle mass. So start with a small deficit. And once you watch a video, you'll understand, but you want to see if that works. And if it is working, continue. And if it's not, then you can increase it. A good time frame I recommend is around 2 weeks. So give yourself 2 weeks. And also in that 2 weeks, make sure you're actually hitting the right calories. And if you are, and the weight's not coming down, then think about, doing a bigger deficit. The next point is around 2 grams per kg of protein per kilogram of body weight. Now, what I found personally is, maybe this is just my body, but when I have a really high protein intake, I happen to lose fat faster while retaining some muscle mass, which has just been something that I've noticed. I've tried the 1.5, I've tried the 1.8, but for me personally, when I go to the higher end, the 2 grams, I found that shedding body fat has been easier for me while maintaining some higher muscle mass. One of the reasons may be because protein is very satiating, so when you eat more protein, you feel fuller for longer, which means that you have a less chance of overeating in the long term. Similar to that, protein with every meal, that's just a standard. I would embed that into your brain. Another couple of points with nutrition. You want to try eating in similar time windows, because obviously when you're in a deficit, hunger is going to be more likely. But if you can train yourself to eat at similar times, your body will adapt to that and you will know when the hunger comes in, which makes it way easier to handle. It's not like you're starving, but if it's the first time you're doing a cut, you will feel a difference. So that's one thing you can do. Another is to use high volume, low calorie food. So for example, if you're making one pot meals like stews and broths, and if you're eating food, just throw in stuff like lettuce, vegetables like tomatoes and peas and carrots, whatever you can find, because that just adds more volume and bulk to the meals that you're having while keeping the calories still small, which means that you have a less chance of going over the top, which will help you lose fat. The next point is actually to intermittent fast. One of the best things that I did was actually fast in the morning, and a lot of the times I actually trained fasted, and I think that really helped me boost my fat loss. And also that meant that I can eat more food later in the evening, because me personally, I like to have a lighter meal in the morning and then save myself in the evening once I've done all my work and hit the gym and things, so I can actually kick my feet up and properly enjoy my meals. Cool, so the next point is exercise, and I really want to focus on the gym, because I was hitting the gym 3, 4, 5 times a week. I'd recommend 3 to 4 times minimum resistance training, and you actually want to go there and try your best to maintain as much strength as possible. I know you're probably thinking, strength is the best time, best for focus when it comes to muscle building, but no. If you want to lose fat, then you want to have a decent amount of lean muscle mass, because the higher lean muscle you have, the easier it will be for you to stay lean. So if you can focus on building some muscle there, it will be very, very good. Another point is resistance training is really good for burning calories. So when it comes to exercise, definitely implement that. And on your rest days, you want to be walking around 8 to 10k steps just to keep the active recovery up, and also because it's good for glucose uptake. A lot of glucose, when it's sat in your bloodstream, can be converted into fat and stored in the belly, which is a bad thing for us. So what we want to do is constantly walk, constantly allow the muscles to take in that glucose and use it. And one of the best ways to do that without tiring the central nervous system is walking. So work out on your workout days and then walk on your rest days. Some key metrics I want you to track. First is your weight. When we're trying to lose body fat, we're basically losing weight. So what you want to do is track your daily weight. First thing when you wake up, leave the scale in your bathroom and track it, because it's way easier to notice change on the scale than it is to notice in your physique, because you might be losing 200 grams and 300 grams, and that's not gonna show up on your physique. It's probably when you lose a kilo or 2 kilos, that's when you really start to see the progress. So if you don't track your daily weight, the problem is that you'll think that you're not making progress. And one of the biggest things in psychology is something called positive reinforcement. If you can get positive reinforcement that you're on the right track, you will continue on that path. One of the biggest things I found with clients that I work with is they might have started something, but they don't realize that they're actually on the right track because they're not tracking the right things. When in reality, if they would have continued, that would have actually helped out. So definitely track your daily weight. Another is you want to take pictures of your physique maybe every 2 weeks, a bi-weekly physique check, and I would do it in the same format. So if you're in the same bedroom, do front, back and side, and this way you can see the changes within your body composition, so you can see where the fat is being reduced. And every 2 weeks I think is reasonable because you're not overly obsessed with it, but you're also being able to see some progress over the time, which can help keep you motivated. Another metric to track is your strength within the gym. I would recommend using your notes app. I did that for a very long time, or there's a free app called Heavy, which I'll leave a screenshot in. That's really, really good. And you want to be trying to maintain as much strength as possible, like I said. And one of the easiest ways to do that is offload the thinking. You want to go into the gym and you want a clear-cut thing of what you need to do. And that way, it actually forces you to keep your sessions intense as well. And the more intense your sessions are, the more calories you'll burn, the easier it will be for you to shed body fat. The next point is regular sleep. And that's because regular sleep has two very important components to it. It has the deep sleep, which is more physical restoration when it comes to muscle building, fat loss, tissue repair, cell regeneration. And then it also has REM sleep, which is rapid eye movement sleep. And this is important when it comes to memory consolidation, increasing willpower, increasing your mental and cognitive fortitude. Now, this is a long process, and what I mean by that is you're not going to go from 20% body fat to 10% body fat in the space of 6 weeks. It will take some time. So you need to make sure that your physical body and also your mental state is in a good place. And if you are not giving yourself proper and adequate sleep, you are basically starting the day with a phone that's on 60% charge. I was getting absolutely addicted to sleeping on time. In fact, I actually enjoyed it. One of the key things I found was gamifying my sleep. So I went on the Apple app, and I'll show you a screenshot here. For ages, I just tried to maintain my 7 hours 30 sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time. Whether you want to argue with it or not, I'm shredded. Most people are not. So there it is. Get your sleep in check. So I right now use an app called Sleepwave. I'll leave a screenshot here. Definitely recommend using that. It will help you with your sleep. Okay, and when it comes to consistency as a whole, here's some tips I want to give you. First is to maintain good blood sugar levels. If you are constantly spiking your blood sugar with these high sugary foods, you're going to have spikes that go up, and that's going to lead to a crash. And those crashes, aside from the physical side, come with a mental hit, which is actually mood regulation. If you constantly spike and crash, your mood will be in a worse place, which means that you are more likely to do things off plan. So you want to find foods and eat foods that stabilize your blood sugar, and that's why it's so important that you move at the same time, because like I mentioned earlier, that blood sugar sat in your system can very easily be converted into fat. So you want to make sure that you're maintaining healthy blood sugar levels. So I personally just like eating wholemeal. It doesn't really bother me that much. The research is sort of iffy. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. They've done some research on like brown bread versus white bread. They have found that brown bread does cause a smaller spike. Maybe it's insignificant, but maybe it's just a placebo. I just prefer eating brown bread and wholemeal wraps. Try it and see what you think. Next is to avoid cheat days and go for cheat meals instead. You see, I want you to start thinking of your calories not just daily but weekly. If you're on like 2,000 calories every single day, then you have a cheat day which you eat like 4,000, 5,000. You got to think that you've added on an extra like 3 days onto your week. So that can very easily impact your overall progress. Another reason why so many people fall off, because they're like, I'm on a calorie deficit. So why is it that I'm not losing weight? It's because on that Saturday you ate 3 days worth of food. But because you were good for 6 days, in your mind you feel like you were alright. But that does have an impact, so please keep that in mind. My recommendation is try to combine cheat meals with social interaction, so it avoids you doing it on your own. Then you have like 2 in 1 type of thing. I found that really, really helped. Another is don't worry about eating, like a couple of biscuits here and there. Just make sure that it fits your calories. You don't want this to be a super restrictive thing. If I was going out and there was someone offered me a cookie, I'd flipping eat it. I don't really care. The thing is, you just want to have a good amount of intuition to know that is this derailing me or not. That's why it's important to track progress. So let's say if I'm my progress is going, I'm losing the weight, and I'm, I get offered a cookie here and there. Just eat it. Don't stress yourself too much about one cookie. Just stress yourself about, are you making progress? If that cookie leads to you going off track and you see the weight bounce back up, then you got something to be worried about. But apart from that, just enjoy the process. You know what I mean? Don't stress too much. The next point is actually losing muscle is normal. If you have not built muscle mass before, there's a very high likelihood that you're not going to retain it. So don't stress too much if you are in an early phase of actually losing some muscle during this body fat loss phase, because it's fine. That's absolutely normal. The next point with consistency is I want you to start tracking your habits. So all the inputs that you need to do, for example, sleeping on time, eating the calories that you want to eat, going to the gym, whatever it is that you think will lead to you getting that result, you need to put that on a visual tracker, either on your computer, on your MacBook, or either on your laptop with a Google Sheet, or you stick it up on a wall or put it in a journal. I'd actually recommend sticking it on a wall because you can see that every single day, and your job is just to keep that streak going, because that's exactly what I did, and that is exactly what I do with my clients as well. That is what leads to results. But yeah, that's it from me. Goodbye.